Okay, so it's December 2012 and Copa Libertadores champions Corinthians are facing Chelsea in the Club World Cup final. This moment marks the beginning of the modern Brasileirão. Paolo Guerrero scored a header in the 69th minute of the game. The 30,000 Corinthians fans that went to Japan celebrated an immense moment. They were minutes away from being world champions, and just like that, Brazil made a statement in the world. With far less income, they defeated one of the richest teams in the world. It is not a coincidence that it happened at this point. Even though no Latin American team were able to win this championship anymore, the Brazilians only skyrocketed in the international scene. A few weeks ago, the IFFHS presented a list with the top best football leagues in the world. And once again we were able to see Brazil with the Brasileirão across the top 4, existing leagues in richer nations. I asked myself, how did the Brazilians were able to build a league that's enormously superior to the rest of the American continent? Let's see what makes it so attractive first. The key elements to success were competition, exporting talent, and the capacity to sell the product globally. An average professional team in Brazil has to play in a league system that consists of 20 teams that face each other twice through the year, like in any other European league. The top 6 qualifies to the Copa Libertadores, the 7th to the 14th gets a spot at the Copa Sudamericana, which is the Latin Europe League, and the last 4 teams get relegated. This league system is very exciting because there's always a reason to compete. The ones that are fighting relegation can even aspire to play in the Copa Sudamericana and so on. At the same time, teams play regional championships, called estaduais. The teams from Rio play the Campeonato Carioca, the ones from São Paulo play the Campeonato Paulista, and so on. The cool thing about this is that every game is a derby, so there's a lot of rivalry. And on top of that, there's a Copa do Brasil, which is the same format as the FA Cup. In 1 year, a team that does well across all competitions might end up playing up to 92 games. And this is great, because it encourages teams to buy only good players. The big names that are out of form and are extremely expensive do not have a spot because they know they're not gonna be chill. The main reason why this league is the most competitive in the world is the fact that there's a total of 12 big teams that can be champions. Double the amount of the ones in the Premier League. Literally, 12 teams won the championship in the past 20 years. Something else that makes the football even more exciting is that every year at least 1 or 2 of the 12 big teams underperform in the Brasileirão, get relegated or finding themselves fighting to avoid so. At the same time, these teams might be fighting for an international trophy like Santos in 2020. This provides us with a yearly historical relegation like Grêmio in 2019, a team that played the Club's World Cup against Real Madrid in 2017. Or more recently, Santos this year. It is funny how, more often than not, teams that underperform in the Brasileirão end up winning the Copa Libertadores, because of how hard it is for teams to be top level at both Copa Libertadores and Brasileirão. At the end of the day, the Brazilians face a potential Copa Libertadores champion every weekend non-stop, in stadiums that are always packed. This is the reason why in the last few years, most of the Latin American Club World Cup participations were from Brazil. Teams are rich and have the capacity to contract debt because they have multiple forms of income, unlike most teams in the region. So in a matter of 2 or 3 years they can overcome a crisis by getting loans, having an acceptable Brasileirão, and selling 1 or 2 youngsters to Europe. In 2017, Grêmio won the Copa Libertadores against Lanús. 4 years later, they got relegated with a squad that had Douglas Costa, a 28 years old former Bayern Munich superstar. After getting promoted back to Brasileirão, they brought Luis Suarez, finished second in the league and won both Copa Gaúcha and Recopa Gaúcha. This is an example to see how success fluctuates in this league. 1 year you might be the Brasileirão champion and 2 years later you might be in Serie B. The reason behind this is that the league also exports talent to the world, so every time there is a quality youngster, the entire world puts their eyes on him, eventually causing a giant move to Real Madrid, Barca, or a Premier League team. In January 2022, the CS Football Observatory made a study to see how long did managers last in the different leagues in the world, being the third most volatile one, the Brasileirão. In that same year, there were no managers with more than 2 years in charge. 76.5% of the managers were hired less than 6 months before the study. Coaches last an average of 163 days in charge because of how exigent they are with the results and how hard it is for every team to do well in the season. In the past Brasileirão, Botafogo, a club from Rio de Janeiro, important but not a usual champion, spent 31 weeks on top of the league and had a 13-point gap with the rest of the teams. In October, the manager Bruno Lage was fired. The reason was that the team was knocked out from Copa Sudamericana and that he lost 3 consecutive games, reducing the 13-point gap to only 7. we football fans witnessed one of the biggest disasters in history. They ended up being 5th in the league, and Palmeiras were champions. Just for the record, there was a 6-point gap between the 5th and the 1st team. Brazilians were able to build a system that's in perfect balance between consumption, as they have an enormous public, and the player exports, because of the great structure that they have to develop talent and end up in the European leagues. The quality of a team varies every year, because they need to sign new players to promote young talent to replace the players sold. So in every season nobody knows what's gonna happen. At the end of the day, I see no reason why not to enjoy the Brasileirão. It is an excellent product with one of the key elements of our modern world, dynamism, which lacks in the top 5 European leagues. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing the video with your friends.